Entities seek stability from their environment. Welcome to the Abyss Garden, a secluded land where we create endless pathways. Unique cards made to inspire your stories. Today we are coming back to our tiny tales, the 5th out of 6. Tiny sketches, tiny doodles, tiny scenes, where we follow a new character and its adventures, based on random pathway cards, drawn to guide each new scene, each new illustration of this character. The card that we drew today was the Overture, and it states that entities seek guidance to carry their burden. And so in the last scene we had these two characters. We had the Rebel's Child, which is the character that we follow, and we had the Seedling's Advisors, which kind of brought it to break apart from its roots and to seek shelter, to seek safety into a faraway land in order to escape an encroaching danger. And so what we see here is that after their path has been broken apart by some malevolent spirit, we see the Rebel's Child kind of broken down on the floor. It fell from the skies and it seems to be in kind of a bad shape. And the place that we find it in is the very place that had been traveled in the past by some mysterious character called the Wanderer, which met with this extremely tiny creature, a baby spike with a tiny tree above its head. This tiny creature had been given a choice in the past by the Wanderer, a choice for its future, a choice for a path to follow. And so there were 3 options. It had first the option to either be part of a really big group of tiny creatures like itself, so the choice of community. It also had the choice to become a very huge and threatening being. And lastly, it had the choice of becoming a very slithering version of himself, able to travel and to reach beyond the horizon. And that's this latest one that it chose. And since then, we see these remains of its choice, this goal that seems to be traveling with it, as some kind of an illusion, as some kind of a ghostly presence, representing this baby's psyche and its ever-extending spirit. And so we find this character and its spirit being kind of intrigued and puzzled by the Rebel's Child fall, which is now seemingly trying to beg them for help. And so that's pretty much all this scene is about. We still have on the upper half of the drawing remains of these kind of thundery roots that emerge from the malevolent cloud that we saw on the last illustration. So I'm not entirely happy about the composition of this one. Now that I see it from afar, I would kind of have liked to make it quite different. But yeah, that's kind of the cost of trying to make a doodle every day and having just so much time to be able to create them, is that once I start a doodle, there's not really any time for me to try a lot of things before going towards the final illustration, towards the final scene. But I feel like it still helps a lot to be able to see what mistakes I make and to still go towards the end of it, to reach the end of every doodle, every tiny illustration, and to then afterwards be able to realize the mistakes that I made and how I could improve for the future. And so that's pretty much all about this scene. And from it, a new pathway has been created, which is called the Crumbling Beggar, and which states that entities seek stability from their environment. If you have any interesting thoughts on it, or any ideas of how you would use this card, this pathway, in some future creations of yours, to inspire your stories, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message about it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna wish you a nice day, and I'll see you tomorrow for the last scene of this tiny tale, and to see where the Rebel's Child end up